I'm Jamie, back with another episode of Gold Rushes of Australia. Lasseters Reef, the world's greatest reef of gold that has never been found. Many have searched for it since Harold Lasseter says he discovered this reef of gold around 500 kilometres west of Alice Springs. Unfortunately, the story that Harold gives around discovering the reef is a little bit sketchy. He was born in 1880 and says that in 1897 he set out on a horse from Cairns to look for rubies and ended up discovering the reef 500 kilometres west of Alice Springs. Now, Lasseter himself says he was in the Navy from 1897 to 1901. In 1896, he was actually in a Geelong reformatory for stealing. Now, he did escape, or did run away from the reformatory, so it is possible that he made a mad dash to the centre of Australia via Cairns, on horseback from Cairns too, mind you, discovered the gold, made a mad dash back in time to join the Navy, but it's extremely unlikely. On a side note, Lasseter also said that he was the first person to submit a detailed proposal of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, so anything's possible. He did join the army in 1916 to fight in the First World War, but was discharged the following year for what they said was the reason being mentally deficient. Harold was 50 years of age and working on the construction of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. After all, he did design it, when he proposed an expedition to find the lost reef in 1930. Now, it was at this time that he started to give a detailed account of what had transpired before. He actually approached the boss of the Australian Workers' Union, a very powerful union at the time, a bloke named John Bailey, who was known to be quite the brawler back at his time. Now, there was a small group of men assembled, including a fellow named Errol Coote, who would actually go on to fly the Tiger Moth plane in the expedition they got off the ground. Now, initially the men laughed at Lasseter, but he persisted with his tale. He described his initial discovery of the reef as picking up queer coloured stones that on closer inspection contained flakes of gold. He said he followed the reef for what would be miles and miles, and also said he collected a bag of samples and brought back with him. Now, Lasseter said he did nearly die when he discovered this reef on his ruby finding expedition, both his horses dying before being saved by an Afghan with a camel who returned him to civilization. He then said he worked around the Coolgardie goldfields for a few years before a mysterious man named Harding convinced him to set out again to look for the lost reef. I'll tell you more on next week's episode of Gold Rushes of Australia on the Miners Den show. I'll see you then.